Okay, I want to start this episode off by saying a couple words first. First off, I want to remind everybody that I'm not glorifying this, and I'm not making up stories. So when I see someone says, tell this kind of story or tell that kind of story, I just can't pull stories out of thin air. You know, these are actual stories. These are actual things that happen to people. Now, although I did a couple jokes in different prisons, they were at different times in my life. This one happened when I was a young man because the crime that I committed, you know, it warranted me to go to the prison that I went to, which I don't want to actually put anyone on blast, but I'm going to tell it as I see it. And like I said, maybe these stories will help some of the younger generations. So, and I also want to say, I'm going to tell all my prison Joe stories. And they're going to have different segments, but this segment is called Prison. And I'm starting from the very beginning of in my first time having a prison sentence, being in prison. So I will get to other stories. And second, a friend contacted me that was actually in this particular prison with me and asked me, could he come on the show and, just say a couple things about an actual story I'm going to tell. And I told him, sure, let's do it. Maybe two people can tell this story twice as better, So I'm not telling these stories to make money. I'm not telling to get all the views and all this. You never hear me saying subscribe, because that's not what I'm about. I'm in a very comfortable position in my life, I'm a business owner, now, and things have been good for me in my life. So I'm actually going to start giving back, doing drawings and raffles and giveaways, to actually make someone's life better and try to make up for some of the bad that I've did in my life. Just giving back. So with that said, let's get into episode 7. So Buttman is going to town on Baby Charles. That's the episode we left off on when he going to town on Baby Charles. And I'm just hearing Baby Charles saying, you gonna kill me. You gonna kill me. You gonna kill me. You gotta stop. In actuality. And Buttman is in the zone. And like I said, at this time, I'm saying, Ralph is being the voice of reasoning. He's telling Buttman, hey, man, you got to back out this man, son, bro. You going to kill him, and you got to calm down, man. You so anxious to be in this man, you know what I'm saying? And you just going crazy in this man, So he's still going, and Baby Charles, like he blanking out, but he's still moaning, he's still moaning. And so Ralph grabs Buttman and pulls him off of Baby Charles. And Baby Charles is a little dude, a little guy or whatever, and everybody in the prison kind of like him because he's a funny dude, man. I mean, this dude could have been a comedian, you know. He's a funny guy. So, you know, even though, like I said, Ralph is a big kind of guy, and Port Allen, you know, is a big kind of guy, and it takes both of those guys to actually get Buttman off of Baby Charles. And in the process of doing that, all of a sudden, I see somebody swing and hit Ralph. And I'm like, well, who the hell would be crazy enough to hit Ralph? But Ralph stumbles back. And I'm like, and I see this little short guy, Baby Charles, buddy, the one he's always with 24/7. And I'm like, damn, you hit him that hard to make him stumble. These are my thoughts, to make him stumble back like that, you know. But I'm not knowing that he had a shank in his hand, a piece of fence, you know. They tore a piece of fence or got a piece of fence from somewhere and filed it down into a shank. It almost looked like a little ice pick, you know, and got taped it up, and you know, you everybody know how a shank is made. And he stabs Port Allen in the neck, and Port Allen stumbles back, but he's shot. And I mean, he pulls it out his neck. And man, when I say he pulled it out his neck and blood just started gushing from his neck, it took like 3 or 4 seconds. When he pulled it out, it was nothing. So I was like, okay, maybe he good. And blood just started gushing. And Port Allen panicking. He's panicking because he's seeing all this blood. I mean, he's soaked in blood. Blood skeeting everywhere. He's soaked in blood. So Ralph is really freaking the hell out. And he looking at Buttman and Port Allen like, help me. Help me. And his blood just still skeeting out. But that's the crazy thing about prison. These dudes is strictly about vengeance and just anything violent. So instead of helping they homeboy Ralph, they chasing after Baby Charles' homeboy, which I don't know his name, so we just gonna call him Q. So they chasing after Q. I mean, they everywhere behind chasing after Q. So finally, they catch up to Q, and they start beating him. Both of them, Port Allen and Buttman. So at this time, Ralph making his way up to the door, but he's like he's dying. Oh, God. Oh, boom, beating on the door, you know, trying to get the guards to come in. And the whole time, it's a big old commotion. Everybody, I mean, he got to the door, he beating on the door, he bagging up because he hear the keys, and he slips on his own blood and hit the floor. So this is the point where the guards come in. So when the door popped open, Ralph was still laying on the floor, you know, because he had just slipped. And the guard automatically thought it was a fight, so he radioed 1010. And they began to run back out on the hall and get the first aid kit and come back and wrap his neck. So, you know, other guards come rushing in, and they on the bullhorn telling everybody to report to their racks and stay in their racks till further notice. So they take Ralph out and takes him to the infirmary or to the own staff doctor, you know, or who's ever, you know, shift it is. And everybody's just anticipating when the guards come back in and start pulling people out of here. So 1 hour go by. So all this time goes by and the guard never comes back in. The guards never come back in, and we all falls asleep. So next morning hit, roll call, then child time, and still nothing. So now everybody saying to themselves, oh, Ralph solid. Ralph ain't say nothing. So if Ralph ain't say nothing, then my guy Q, you got something, you got to be worried about something. It's something to be worried about. But at the same time, Bambino and them looking at him, staring at him, but they ain't making no moves right now. You know, they been just grilling him down, mean mugging him. And, you know, he keeping his head down or whatever. And the whole time, nobody knows where the Shankton went, you know. So that's a mystery too. So the guards comes over to a dude named Panama and another guy. You know, I know Panama because Panama, he draws as well too. So, and tell them they gonna be cleaning the dorm, you know, so go ahead and eat and go in the dorm so they can, you know, mop up the blood and clean up the blood, because in prison, we slept all night with that blood everywhere, you know. So, Panama and another dude got called and they went on here and started cleaning the dorm after they ate. So we all finished eating and we all headed back to the dorm and everything like that. And so Panama says, yeah, man, Ralph in the infirmary, man, you know what I'm saying? He doing better or whatever. They say his blood pressure low. He giving everybody the scoop, you know what I'm saying? But saying he gonna pull through. But he also says that Ralph told him he slipped out the bed and he don't know what he hit, but something must have stuck him or whatever. You know, so he gives them vague descriptions about what happened, that he fell out the bed, and, you know, that's how this happened to him. So now everybody back in moving mode. We no longer restricted. So, you know, a regular day, everybody playing checkers and cards and little different stuff like that, you know, going about their business, you know. But I see Q and Baby Charles over there shoe showing, you know, and everybody's really now like, man, we ain't think Lil Q had it in him, you know. And I see him coaching Baby Charles, like, almost you could tell what they saying, like, hey man, you ain't, man, don't see things like that. You ain't gay, man. These dudes gay. They gay, bruh. You know, you ain't like that. You didn't want that to happen to you. You ain't gay or whatever. So, you know, Port Allen, Buttman, Bambino, D, Lil Bambino, all them gets up and they start walking past Baby Charles and Q Rex. So they walking past these dudes' Rex. And to me, they just trying to contemplate which way they gonna take them tonight. Cause believe me, even though these dudes may have some fear, most of these dudes is ignorant. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got much education. You know what I'm saying? Most of them that dropped out in 5th and 6th grade, you know. So all they know is straight bruteness, straight brute strength, and just gorilla taking, you know. So just because you stab a guy or whatever and all that nonsense you watch on TV about punch and beat up the first big guy you see when you in prison, that ain't putting no fear in nobody. Because most of these guys that been in prison their whole life and they done seen thousands and thousands of reoccurrences like this. So, okay, I mean, basically, Q and Baby Charles just been in the rat all day. Now, night is falling. So, and once nightfall, is every man in his own rat, you know? So, I see a whole bunch of congregating going on over there by Buttman them. You know what I'm saying? And it's almost like they are putting a plan together to go take Q because they want Q, you know what I'm saying? Because Port Allen is really the one who's pissed off because even though Ralph and Buttman know each other, Port Allen is the one that he did the most time with and was the closest to, and he just can't let this slide this way. So I say about maybe like the wee hours, maybe like 2, 3 in the morning, I hadn't fell asleep this particular night. And all I hear is a bunch of This guy named JP wakes me up and be like, hey man, G, man, bruh, they done snatch your boy Q and they got Q in the bathroom, buck naked, tied up on the floor, beating him and stomping him and shit. So, you know, I'm just waking up. You know, what? So, nigga like, yeah. So, you know, I'm super nosy. I want to see what's going on. So I gets up and go back there, and this man in the fetus position, and they just beating him and stomping him and everything. So, you know, he to the point of no, I mean, when I say, hey, he ready to surrender, they didn't really give him the business. So all of a sudden, I hear, hey, go run back to the rack and get the toothpaste in jail, man. Go get. So, now, boy, like, cause they got him with like 4 socks tied up. They ain't even used the braided sheets. They got 4 socks like tied together and got 4 socks on his hands, and they got 4 socks tied to his feet. And he just in a fetal position, and he's in the middle of the surface of the shower. And they kicking him and stomping him. Now you gotta understand, Baby Charles and Q, those are little bitty dudes. You know what I'm saying? If you ask me, they shouldn't even been in the prison with these big heavyweights. You know, and they got him already buck naked. You know, so Tay and Red, like I say, they already, Tay, Red, and Chad, they already turned out, and they already just, you know, in with the festivities, just beating this man and everything. So when old boy come back with the toothpaste in the jail, so all them grabs Q and puts Q almost on his knees in a fetal position. So Buttman actually gets behind this guy, and I mean one now it's been some really rammed in rapes, but this was a gorilla. He went, and the guy went, and the guy just, he really clenching up, you know, his toes curling up, his hands curling up, his facial expression, he just started crying, tears just coming down his eye, but he ain't really hollering and making too, you know, so he determined not to let them get them noises out of him to lose his manhood, but they just going over and over and over and over. So now you remember I said Q was the one telling Baby Charles, you ain't gay. These guys, they the ones gay. So in his mind, if he don't make these noises, he won't be gay. So he refusing to give them the noises that they want. So they started jumping in and out of him, taking a turn. And he, so they continued this for, I swear, it's the wee hours of the night, and I could swear daybreak getting ready to come in, but he ain't giving in. So they begin to tell him, oh, you gonna make them noises, you gonna get them noises up. So they still beating him and beating this dude. And at this time, this dude bloody, you know, this dude is really just out of it. He out of his mind, but he's still holding fast and he's still holding tough, you know, and I actually salute Q, you know. Now, Q was a tough little dude, you know what I'm saying? They end up beating this dude because he wouldn't do I guess they call him the female noises, and they beat him and end up, I guess they got tired and they left him on the bathroom floor of the shower, the shower floor. And I'm going to come back and pick up this episode. I got a guy joining me, one of my homeboys. He was actually locked up in his prison with me. His name Njcip. And I just wanted to do something different, which I'm going to try to start mixing some things up and making it better. And we're going to get back to it. The story after I, just get some input from JP. So, JP, round about this time, man, tell the people a little bit how the prison was when they had Great Baby Charles.
I just remember the prison being very, very crazy at this time. There's a lot of mischief and a lot of guys trying to get over in the prison, and you really gotta watch your back most of the time, I would say.
Yeah.
There's some guys in there that's just always working some kind of angle. Some kind of angle. There's always something. We're going to start with these guys. We're going to start with Buttman and Bino. I call him Big Bino. And I had just got there when they was after they raped this guy, and it was just a lot of pandemonium going down. This guy was running around. He was very upset. From what I know, he was very upset.
You right about that? He was very upset. So okay, like at the time when Baby Charles was hollering, man, you gotta stop, you gonna kill me, you gonna kill me. Hey, what was going through your mind at that particular time?
I didn't want it to be me.
I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Oh, hey, bro. Hey, man. And a lot of guys in there was on edge, and me, for one, I had just lost my homeboy, Njcip, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like, man, at any time I could become a target, So at this particular time, did you feel like they was going to start taking on new targets?
Yes. They were targeting men that didn't have so much of a social status in the prison.
Right.
There's a lot of people running around there thinking like I'm the biggest, baddest, and I could take on this man. But what you gonna do when a man come face to face and want some of that butt?
I'm laughing, man, because, hey, bro, you always been a funny dude, man, and I always remember coming talk to you, man, when I was having a bad day or whatever, and you kind of lift my spirits up. You stayed to yourself, you was about your business and everything like that, and I mean, you was one of the guys that, I socialized with, because a lot of us, we wasn't even with the stupidness that these guys was, man. So, do you remember the actual day when they turned Tay-Tay out?
By Tay-Tay, you mean... Who was Tay-Tay? You know it?
No.
That's his name?
Yeah, he was the one who had started dressing in drag. He probably was already fully turned out by the time you had got there. So you was coming in like close to 97. You was coming in.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, Tay was already turned out. You remember Tay, the one was dressing in full drag.
Oh yeah. I just remembered about this particular man that he was already sort of going that way. So it really wasn't too much they had to do to him, I would say. It really wasn't too much they had to do to him. No.
Yeah, so I actually lost track of you You must have got out like in like 98, I think.
I got out in 98. I've been living my life straight since then. No problems with you young cats.
No more problems, huh?
No problems at all.
Ain't going back to the prison.
Oh, sir.
So you ain't been back to prison since?
Nah, I ain't been back to prison since. I wouldn't like to go to visit. I wouldn't like to go to see it. I ain't been back yet.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming into the show, bro. And I just want you to tell the people that the stories that I'm telling are real stories.
I can guarantee these are 100% authentic stories. I was there for most of the duration of this episodes, and what I want to say to you young cats is, don't go in jail thinking like, well, I won't say prison, not jail, it's prison. Don't go in these prisons think you the biggest man and the baddest man and that you can't get took because they'll take you and they'll take you fast.
All right, man. I appreciate you coming in, JP, man.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
All right, man.